Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to our Salem by Night Chronicle. I'm the Reverend Sarkon. My name is Will, and tonight we'll be kicking back off with our Camarilla coterie. And last time we were with them, we got to see them meet with Marcus Bradley, the thin-blood Primogen, over at his club, the Albatross. He talked about having lost some traction of time, which was in line with the ghouls over the Dance Nocturne. They noticed a Salem Gazette newspaper on the coffee table that had the word fuck written on the margin of a story dealing with the Bootleggers Incorporated, which were a company that had kind of fizzled out in the city but is slowly making its return. He told them about having lost a chunk of time during which the main band was playing at his club, and that his employees hadn't lost the same amount of time, but rather little pockets whenever they were going to deal with somebody. So they don't have an idea of who did this to them. But Marcus did give them a list of businesses that have had similar events over the weekend, among them being clubs or fronts that were part of the Primogen Council more than anything, except that there were a couple across the river where the Anarchs are cemented. He did ask if they had seen Grant Reynolds, since the last person that was able to get in contact with him was Melvin Wright, and he has left the city. And so he asked because Sam has mentioned that he is in the company of one Erickson Wood as of late, and so he wanted to see if they had heard anything to corroborate the rumors that he's been hearing. But we got to see a little bit and hear a little bit about the overzealous hunters that tried to do something back in 1980, and how Marcus had heard that they called themselves the Olympians, which is just hubris in all levels. But after that, they left and went to the Tremere Primogen spot, the Vagabond, and they saw that Mr. Thompson was talking to a gentleman that they hadn't met before, and they were introduced to what happens to be a member of the Order of Hermes, which is a what some people call will workers or mages. And after talking to each other about the missing chunks of time in people's memories, it was revealed that it could be due to one of their kind, and he offered to have one of the members of the Awakened in the city scope out the Dance Nocturne on Friday to see if there's any residual oh my god, what's the word, resonance for any magic that might have happened with a K at the end. Once he left, Mr. Thompson offered them muffins, which he revealed were chimerical in nature, and allowed them to remember tastes that they wanted to remember. And we left off with them kind of enjoying the muffins. One was a steak dinner, the other was just pure Belgian chocolate. If you didn't see the episode, I'll let you figure out who's who in the cast. But we're going to be opening up with Kathy, because last time she ran off after seeing the three familiar cats, Gustav, Leopold, and Victor. Right? Yeah, Gustav, Leopold, and Victor. I always forget one of their names, and it bothers the fuck out of me. But Teddy is in one of the alleyways. You can see that the three cats are kind of there to motion you over to him. And when you come over to the alley, he kind of comes out of the shadows. He wasn't hiding with Obfuscate, but he was kind of scrunched down and hidden behind a couple of trash cans and a big trash bin. But he stands up to his full, like, 7-foot height, his gangly limbs on either side of, like, his arms on either side of him. Hello, Kathy. It is good to see you again.
minute I see him, of course, I go and I give him the biggest hug I could possibly imagine.
Yep. He reciprocates.
And I say, "What are you doing? Why are you hiding behind a trash can?"
I am being a good messenger and trying to find the Nosferatu. And I have found one, and he points at you. Kind of boops your nose.
I was like, "Yay! Why are you looking for me?"
Yeah, the Nosferatu in the city have asked me to find the stragglers because they are having a meeting. Come on.
Oh, now got it. Okay, cool.
Yep.
So as we go, I pick up one of the cats and I'm like,
Yep.
"Follow you."
Yep, and he meanders over to a large manhole for the sewers, and he opens it and just jumps down, like just creates himself into a little torpedo and just swoop disappears into the hole. It's
Is there anything
safe,
for
trust
to climb
me.
down? Okay, we were already going there. Jumps right down.
Yep. And he doesn't get on the ladder or anything to reach up and push the manhole closed. But you notice that this track, like there's certain tunnels here where the water level is just non-existent. It's just a little trickle. The smell isn't as terrible as you imagined it to be, but you can also see that there are floodgates that have been closed to move the flow of passage and allow a lot of the people that use the sewers to kind of meander more freely.
So like a hideaway secret chamber thing I should be keeping notes in my little binder?
If you want to, yeah.
Oh, please.
Yeah. But he takes you around, and you also meet up with a couple other stragglers. Among them is Garrett Thandy, who you've met once or twice. He works at the coroner's office. He is a cleaner.
I remember.
Yeah.
It's the one that I was taking the drawings off.
Mm-hmm. But when you show up, there is this underground, what looks to be an old subway station that has been forgotten by the city. Very much in the vein of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know, there's cobwebs, there's a half of a train that's on the track, but there's like sofas and lanterns. It is very homely. And you will see that the Primogen is already there, Julian. You'll see that Tulip is there.
What's that?
Mikhail, Garrett shows up with you and Teddy, and the only one missing is Theo. But Julian kind of looks out at the group. She'll be with us shortly, so make yourself comfortable. He comes over and he pats Teddy on the side. He's like, "Thank you for your assistance, my friend. I know that this is clan business, but since you've done so much for us, I don't think anyone here would object to you sitting in with us." And he gets a big old smile on his face. He's like, "I appreciate, and I will sit down quietly in the corner."
I go sit by Tulip and I kind of whisper in her ear. I'm like, "Do you have any idea why we're here?"
She leans over to you. She's like, "Yeah, I think this has to do with the bishop in the city."
Okay.
Yeah, it's you're new to the politics, and so when we found out who the bishop was, and more importantly what he was, it really changed things for us. Kathy, and she motions to everybody that's there. We have come to learn that the only ones that we can trust are ourselves, our clan members. So a lot of our kind has really adopted a clan first mentality instead of, sect first, which is what it used to be. And unfortunately, we have found out that the bishop of the city is a Nosferatu. And so we now, I think, are going to vote on whether he counts for clan first versus sect first, because then that puts us in a very dangerous position. Especially since we all backed Otis against Hyde when he was prince.
Okay. So what happens if he doesn't agree with what we have done?
Well, it's going to be a clan vote, and you being so new might actually have some very keen observations. A lot of us are jaded and used to the way things have been. It's only been 4 years since the beckoning, and since this whole kind of new mentality came about, so a lot of us are still getting used to it. You have the fortune of kind of coming in with the new regime mentality, and I don't like using that word, but I think this is what it is. But like I like that we, and again she motions to the group. I like that we all have an understanding. Like once you're embraced and you join the clan, like you know that you have a family. Like look at Teddy. Like Teddy's, we know, is Simitsi, but he did so much for us, and he was basically not playing Nosferatu to hide amongst the city, but like he's never done anything against any of us, especially you.
No, he's my boo. I leaned back and I said, "All right, speak. Just so we warned. One might like it."
And Theodora Sanders shows up, who's Theo. I think you've met her once or twice as well. She's involved with the Willamette University Library.
I think I met her with the Annabelle.
Yep. But once everybody's there, Julian kind of steps up onto a little soapbox, just so he's a few inches above everybody else. Everyone, thank you for coming on short notice. I appreciate all of you. And he motions out to Teddy, especially those of you that have been with us in spirit and have aided us from the shadows. As some of you may know, and some of you are learning today for the first time, the bishop, the Sabbat Bishop of the city, we have learned is a Nosferatu. So, I will pose to you the question: do we accept him because of the new mentality of clan first, or do we stick with Otis and everything that he has done for us? This is not saying that we will be helping the bishop, but we will have to start turning a blind eye to some of the things that he is doing. And he has already asked for access to the tunnels. We can't stop him. He knows the routes. But if we give him leeway, we don't have to fight him under the city. We can bide our time, and we can keep to the shadows like we've been doing. But I am one voice, and this is a council. All of you have an equal say in what we do as a clan. So I open the floor. Any questions or comments, and everybody starts trying to talk over each other. To the point that Teddy kind of claps his big hands, and it echoes throughout the chamber. And Julian looks over, is like, "Thank you, Teddy. One at a time. Who has what to say?" And you'll hear that people are uncaring about the situation. The clan, the sect war has not bled into the clan yet. They also are not of the mind that the bishop has any real strength in the city, but given access to the tunnels, he might start to increase in power. And so a lot of people are on the fence, and some are for ignoring him and some are against it, citing that, the only one that really went to bat for them was Otis. And with Manny's death, it's been...
That's what I need to know. I was waiting very nicely for that.
It's been one of those things.
So I wanted to make sure that we all were aware that Manny was dead. I didn't know if we were still keeping that a secret.
Yeah.
So as they start to talk and everything starts to get very loud, I say we should probably take in consideration of the people we have lost, whose voices are not here. And we should think about who they followed in their means and ways. Manny wouldn't have chosen Otis if he didn't truly believe that he could lead. And his voice is absent tonight. For all of you who keep saying that it hasn't bled into us, it has. And I think that what we should be listening to is not the voices who are present in here, the voices who aren't. Because they are speaking the loudest, to me at least. And we should not just sit here and let this man gain access to the tunnels. We have friends that are not Nosferatu, and we should accept those voices too. I look at Teddy and I'm like, so I ask you, Teddy, as an outsider, and as a person who's been through this just as much as I had, what would Manny say?
He sits back, kind of rocking on his coccyx. I had very little interaction with Manny, but he was always the nicest man, always offered me several of the treats he had in his little bags, even though he was very defensive of his sporks. I do remember that. I don't think that Manny would want to give him access to these tunnels. He was always next to Otis, and I don't think that Otis would want to give tunnel access to these people.
And I look at Jill, I'm like, well, I look up to him. He has my vote. I'm going to stand for the silent. I'm in favor of not having him have the tunnels.
Okay.
I raise my hand.
Yeah, and once you raise your hand, Julian is like, all right. Everyone opposed then, standing with Teddy and Miss Kathleen. And you see Tulip raise her hand, Theo raises her hand, and Garrett.
Is it opposed or with?
With you. So,
Okay.
So opposed to giving them the tunnels.
Perfect.
So it's you, Teddy, Tulip, Garrett, and Theo. So the other ones that are standing to allow tunnel access are Mikhail and Julian. He takes note. Very well. I will let Otis know that the bishop has approached us about gaining access to the tunnels, and I will try to instruct on him how best to use them to his advantage and how they may be used against him to give him disadvantage. thank you everyone for your time, and I appreciate everyone's insight into this. And you see people kind of gather up in pairs. Tulip kind of puts her hand on your shoulder as Teddy comes over. That was really well said.
I swear to God, by the end of this, I'm marrying Teddy. I'm saying it. Let's go.
But she kind of smiles at you, and you can see the shark teeth in her mouth. That was really well said. I think that even with your crash course into this existence, like, you've made some leaps and bounds.
And under a bit, I'm like, well, I learned from the best, don't I?
I mean, if that's your way of
hard joke or anything.
If that's your way of pushing Ivory or Carl up, I've taken notice of them.
You Tulip.
She's like, I'm nothing special. But you did a lot of good work today. I'm gonna go let Harvey know what happened here. And that way, him and the Whips can kind of start to really bolster themselves. And she grabs your hand before she leaves. She goes, "Hey, did you hear about Marcus?"
No.
Okay. Has anything?
Well, I know you'll thumbs up. I pull her back. I'm like, you can't do that.
No. I'm wondering, because did something happen at the club, at the Nocturne, last weekend?
You're talking about the girl?
What girl?
And there was a girl that came in that wanted a job, but her mind was all messed up.
No. This is Marcus. The way Marcus told us, this was something that happened to him and a couple other places where people just lost track of time.
Yeah, the girl. She had lost track of time. She was trying to apply for a job. She didn't remember how she got there. And then, like, Ivory saw whips coming out of her head.
It's weird, because if she came there looking for a job, that means that she wasn't there as a club goer.
And we think that it has a lot of, like, connections, like, with her people that are watching and monitoring and doing stuff like that. So, like...
Whose people?
We don't know. Ivory's people.
Oh.
It seems to, whatever it affects, when she starts to focus on it, it goes away. But we don't know what it is. And on top of that, there's somebody in the camera that we don't know either. You know any magic like that?
Someone in the camera that you don't know?
Mm-hmm. We see a shadow. I'm talking about the right stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she goes, well, I mean, the only clan that deals with shadows besides us is the La Sombra, but there's none in the city, not since Albert Frost was killed.
The thing is, this guy had no shadow. Like, it was nothing. So we can't figure out who it is. And then on top of that, it keeps happening. So Ivory's put more people on the defensive for it to try and keep
That's good.
that area safe.
Yeah, that's.
So we have no idea. Like, the last time we were there, and she was looking at the cameras, like, the wisps of the black things that are coming out of the heads are the only, like, indication of it. So we're trying to figure out who that was.
Well, it sounds like Diablerie, and I know that I haven't told you what that is yet, and it's because it's one of the worst things that any kindred could do to another kindred.
What is it?
It's when you drain another vampire, to the point where you can taste their actual soul, and then you take that as well. It's...
Would this also affect their and I do the hands. I do this. The ghouls?
It not ghouls. Ghouls can't commit Diablerie. It's only once a ghoul takes vampire blood, they just strengthen the bond to their dometer. You need to be kindred to Diablo Rice, buddy.
It was the guy's lady ghoul. Like it was Ivory's butler person that watches the cameras. That person's not a vampire.
That's odd.
And the girl that came for an interview, she wasn't a vampire either. She was applying to be like a bartender or something. None of these people were vampires.
Okay. I'll ask around with the people that I know. That gives me
what?
No, that gives me something to work off of. Especially the black whips in.
That was the biggest
she
concern
does the same
because, like,
hand gesture.
Yeah, like I was like, because I don't think we can see it, only she can. So she described it as like these black things that were coming out of their heads, is what I have in my notes. So
I can if I think I know what it is, I can try to see them. So if anything, I'll let you know what I find out. If I find out anything by Friday, I know that Otis is finally kind of trying to come out of his stupor, and so he's going to be at the nocturne.
Friday?
So yeah. So Harvey wants us to kind of show face and be there for moral support and whatnot.
Will do.
Okay. And Teddy comes over because he had seen you talking, so he gave you guys space. But once Tulip is done and she kind of starts to walk away, she pats him on the arm, and then he comes over. This was very I don't know the English word for it, but it was exciting. There was a lot of yelling back and forth.
I gotta admit, you know how to, keep a room quiet. And I pat him on the shoulder.
Yeah, I have big hands and they make a loud noise when I clap.
You're very useful, Teddy.
And they echo. Mm-hmm. And he'll actually take you up the stairway that leads to the kind of like station above. And when you come up, you'll see that it is the Salem bus station. Like not the bus like transit around the city bus, but like actual Greyhound. And the door that you come out of is marked what's it called? A storage, and it has a number 23 on it.
Write it down.
Like in the corner.
I write it down, and I keep tabs of like I draw the little picture of the signs that are nearby too.
Mm-hmm.
And I put it back in my pocket, and I begin to look for a payphone.
But if there's nothing else that presses, we'll jump to Friday. And it is about 9 o'clock when Otis shows up. He has Thompson next to him. You don't see Dimitri anywhere around. But
Did my cat find anything?
Where?
So my cat was following her Prodigy person.
Mm-hmm.
Did he find anything? Anything to report?
Nothing.
Okay.
No. But Otis will show up promptly around 9 with Thompson in his wake. And he'll shake hands and just kind of like go over to his booth.
I thought the mage was going to show up earlier.
The mage has not shown up yet.
Awesome. Okay.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Bad thing, but okay.
Uh-oh.
Cult of Ecstasy are rarely on time.
She does not know this, but...
A wizard is never late or early, Frodo.
This wizard sits in the back.
Yeah. But you'll see that Harvey Green shows up, and then some of the other people that you recognize from the town, from the city, Tulip, Alfred Beckett, who you had saved, Thompson, Geraldine is there, and she is playing what's it called, defense right now, because she is she also has what's his name,
My sire.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh shoot.
Yeah, I thought I had it written down.
I have it somewhere.
Well, I call him Royal Fuckboy, so we're good.
Yeah.
He will also be accepted as asshat and.
Yeah. But he's there, but he's paying attention to her.
Oh,
Like,
good.
yeah, like he comes over, he kisses you on the cheek, but otherwise he stays, and he tells you, he's like, I am going to be staying with Geraldine. She's very in need of my attention, and I hope you don't mind.
I understand.
You are always so kind.
Mhm.
And his hand lingers on your face when he says that.
Mm-hmm.
But Carl will see that Thompson is there, as well as a Tremere that doesn't really bring a lot of attention to herself. Her name is Gretel Meyer. She was turned last year. There's a bit of a kerfuffle around her embrace because she's a child of a Diabolist Tremere called Andrew Givens.
Mm. Okay, Barnaby. By the way.
Yes. And just I have blocked the name of predators from my mind, so just like when it comes to me, it'll come to me.
I have it written down.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, and I do have him under my list of Toreador in the city, so I should just look there.
Yeah. When
but-
Otis has a second,
Mhm.
whether it's when he first gets there or before that, she will go up to him. Welcome. When you have a moment, I have a few issues to discuss.
He looks around. No, let's take advantage of the time now. I think John can kind of play bouncer for me if he doesn't mind, and John kind of nods and steps away. And Otis will get up and pull the seat out from the table for you.
She will sit. Thank you.
Yeah, tell me, Miss Larson, what can I do for you?
Well, I'm sure you know that the Ventru are a little upset at the moment.
Please, when you refer to the rest of my clan, I would prefer that you use white collar as a descriptor. I don't share a lot of their ideals or prejudices.
Fair. But evidently ghouls in the city, not just here, but around in different bars, have been losing time.
Yes, John had told me about that.
Yes. And we have some leads. We think maybe someone is using ghouls to spy, actually. It's some sort of mechanism so that they can spy on their vampires, I would guess.
John is very good at what he does. and I have never heard him describe a ghoul as a conduit for spying before. Is this a new
We think
ritual?
it has. I don't think it's from a vampire. I think it's from, they call them mages.
Yes, John has told
Yeah.
me about them.
Yes, I think it's a mage.
Interesting.
Yes, Primogen Thompson has introduced me to one and has called on another that will be able to possibly see traces of this to see if that's what's happening.
All right, that I was not aware of. I'll have to pull him aside at some point tonight.
So, are you okay with us working with these mages? Is that it seems to be the only lead that we've really got.
If it's the only avenue, I don't see us having a choice in the matter. Until we can discover what these mages can do. And I'm sorry, every time that you bring them up, my mind immediately goes back to like stage magicians and asking if they've picked the right card. So I'm trying not to laugh every time that you bring them up.
I'm not sure of them myself, but Primogen Thompson seems to put store in them.
John is equally in reverence and in not fear but trepidation about them. And from the little bit that he has shared with me, he used to belong to one of their orders before he was embraced, so I might have to push him to open up more about his past.
In the meantime, I'm not sure if we want to put anything out there about being careful about your ghouls. I don't know.
I don't.
They're calling Elysium into question, and
I'm here, and as long as I keep showing up to our Friday night, I think that if anybody has an issue, they can come straight to me.
I will send them your way.
You
Protect your ghoul. Well, check.
You and the rest of your coterie have been doing good work, and I appreciate everything that you've done so far. And he'll pull out a piece of paper and unfold it and slide it to you.
She looks at it.
Since you are a keeper of Elysium, I figured that this would be information that you would want to have for yourself. But it is the new split of domains in the city.
Ah, excellent.
And the way he's worked it out is that the central area belongs to all the Primogen. The northeast neighbors section belongs to the Whips. The Four Corners belongs to the Nosferatu. South Central belongs to the Toreador and the Ventru. North Lancaster belongs to the Malkavians. And then Hayesville belongs to the sheriff and his coterie. But he also has an addendum that any businesses that are owned and operated within these domains, if they don't belong to you, you have a 3-block radius of grace to hunt in as a buffer.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So, just so I don't get spanked, does that mean I can only hunt in my Nosferatu zone?
No, that is just the word safe for you to hunt.
Okay.
Like if you need to hunt in the neighbors section, you're gonna want to let one of the members of the Whips coterie kind of know that you hunted there, so they know. Just common courtesy, letting the people know where you're hunting. Sometimes it's better to ask forgiveness than to ask for permission. But if you know you need to hunt and you can reach out to whoever is a member of the people that own that domain, then you should kind of be like, hey, I'm in dire straits and I need this. Can I go through?
As for some of the other matters, we're still working on some of the things with the hospital. Yeah, by the way, the Benjamin would have been given those
Yep.
patients. I don't know if he's come back with anything yet.
Not yet.
Okay. And
It probably won't be for another 2 weeks before you get something from that.
and she will pull out her own piece of paper and hand him the names they know of that he uses.
Okay. Yeah, and he looks at it, he's like, is this my copy or is this something that I
You
must...
can have that, yes.
Thank you. And he just holds it out, and John kind of steps over, grabs it, and steps away again.
And nothing more on, unfortunately, on Manny at the moment.
Yes. I did hear that your coterie member spoke highly of him at their meeting. I don't know if she's shared what happened with them, but apparently the bishop in town is a Nosferatu, and he was kind enough to ask them to use the tunnels under the city. The Nosferatu put it to a vote amongst themselves, and they have decided that they are not going to share the tunnels. So be aware that they might start using harsher techniques that they used to use. Things are not going to get easier.
Fair.
And as he says that, Billy kind of comes over and he just bends down next to you. Ma'am, the gentleman I believe you were waiting for is here.
Ah, thank you, Benjamin. Was there anything else?
No, I think if it's all right with you, I'll conduct a bit of business here and I'll try to leave by midnight.
Of course. My house is yours. Thank you for your time.
And before you even get up, John is already pulling your chair back.
Thank you.
And the first person kind of comes over, and Otis greets them by name. Billy takes you over to the escalator, and you see at the bottom he kind of motions, and
I have an escalator now. Okay.
I mean the stairs, whatever. It's fancy. And you'll see this guy coming up the stairs. Jeans, his knees are ripped open. He's got this massive leather belt with the little kind of pyramidal studs along the line where the holes would be. He's got one suspender up the left side, the other one is draped down his right side. He's got this black shirt with the logo for Queen and Night at the Opera on it. He's got a leather jacket thrown over the shoulder that he's holding on to. A similar leather band with the same kind of pyramidal studs along the center of it on his left wrist. What looks to be a collection of rubber bands on his right wrist of different colors. Some of them have paper clips attached to them. Some of them have little trinkets of paper. And there is a tattoo that runs from the back of his wrist up his arm and into the sleeve of what looks to be just this flaming peacock plumage. clean shaven. There's a little bit of like 3 o'clock shadow. He's got the sides of his head shaved and just kind of spiked up. Very product heavy use hair. Very Billy Idol. And one cross earring that kind of hangs from his left lobe. But he comes up and he immediately shakes your hand, or sticks his hand out to shake yours.
Hello.
Hi. Name is Franklin. You can call me Frankie.
Frankie.
Yeah.
Ivory.
Ivory. Not as cold as I thought it was going to be. And he kind of smiles and pulls a cigarette out of his pocket and then puts it behind his ear. Can we smoke in here, or?
Let's see. Smoking laws back then. Downstairs.
Noted. It's a focus, so I don't need it, but helps.
Okay. She has no idea what that means.
Yeah.
But okay.
Helps you focus.
Unfortunately, things are already going on upstairs, and I'm not sure it would be a good idea for you to be seen.
I can blend in if I need to.
And the earring.
Ah. I thought that was a myth.
It's just a little crass.
And you see him pull out what looks to be a little eyeglass case, like a little glass for glasses, and he opens it, and he pulls off the earring, and then he pulls on a different one, and there's like a little ankh. Is that better?
What's on?
Yes.
He closes it.
Thank you.
Puts it in his pocket. What does Carl think of this new face? Because I would assume that you're there somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I would be there. Just haven't.
Because the coterie is gathered. It's just
Right.
Ivory's doing like housekeeping.
Yeah, of course. Well, maybe studying them all to hell. That's for sure. Don't get mages walking down your doorstep every day. You know, especially ones that are not trying to mass shapeshift everything around you.
This is very different from the mages that you have dealt with.
Yeah.
Does this fill you with more sense of worry or safety, or?
Not sure. A little bit of both.
Okay.
Because I know they can do stuff that I can't account for because it's all up here.
Yeah.
And they're accurate, and they can bend so much with their will. So I'm not sure as to what these things. I would definitely try to aura him. That's for sure.
Okay. Yeah, there is a vibrant blast of color. You've seen human auras. They're usually pulsing one color or another, depending on their extremes. But with this guy, it's like every color is shooting off at the same time. And there'll be one color that kind of sits like a crown at the top of his head, and then there's another color that kind of is around his hands and his feet. Around his head is calmness, stoicism, but around his hands it's very manic, kind of jittery, kind of like antsy, anxious. But it is like looking at the sun sometimes when the colors just kind of pop out at you. And it's weird because even though right now upstairs like it's all kindred, every one of their auras are muted. So by contrast, he is just this flare.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
But he'll look in your direction, and he kind of smiles. You've never, every time that you've used Auspex, you've never had somebody like acknowledge that you are using Auspex. So this is odd.
Yeah. Like, oh, okay. Don't react obviously, but kind of like, I see you, you see me kind of thing.
Yeah. And he does kind of look at other people and smile, and then he'll look at Ivory. Oh, I see that a lot of you don't trust new faces.
A learned response.
I won't take offense to it then.
No. So how do you plan to do this?
Well, and he looks behind you, does that bar actually serve alcohol? Or is it?
It does.
Okay, I didn't know. And I didn't want to be rude. I don't know what you people get up to, and I don't mean anything offensive by you people.
We do have people other than our kind here. Anyway, do you want me to show you the places that things have happened, or do you want to suss it out on your own?
Before that, I think I should grease the wheels, as it were, of my gift. So if you could lay out a shot of tequila, a shot of bourbon, and a shot of I doubt you'll have Everclear, but whatever is second strongest.
I'm sure we can find something.
The more flammable,
and
the better.
Walk to the bar. She kind of looked. I don't know if Otis has noticed.
If he has, he hasn't shown that he has. Okay. He is in conversation with the same kindred that was there before. And
okay,
you can tell that Otis is forcing a smile. But he is putting on a very good act.
Has John noticed?
Oh yeah, John knows, 100%.
Okay, so he won't nod at him.
Yeah.
And take him over to the bar and get him what he wants.
Yep. And
on the house, of course.
And he puts down a 20 for tip then, and the bartender just kind of like nods, thank you. But he sets them up in a little triangle, and you see him from the same little sunglass case. He pulls out a little bit of chalk and he draws a circle around each of them. He draws a triangle encompassing the 3 circles, and he starts to draw a symbol in the center. It looks alchemical in nature. It's fancy.
How much is Chad or Carl in?
Up to you. Are you interested in what's happening? Are you babysitting Kathy?
No, I'd be up in this shit.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely always interested in new types of knowledge, even if you can't really grab onto them the best.
It's the alchemical symbol for copper.
Mm.
Why are you adding copper to your drink?
The tang, obviously.
Yeah. And you'll see that he slams his fist down, takes the first shot, and puts it down. And you'll see that the other 2 have a little tendril of red in them. He'll take the second shot down, slam it down, and then the last one has 2 tendrils of red in it, and then he'll take that down, and he'll put the glass down, face down, like open mouth down, and put it on the symbol instead of the circle that he just pulled it off of. And he'll clap his hands together, and he'll kind of wobble back and then catch himself on the bar and pull himself back. Yeah, no, that's good shit. Wow. Yeah. I am in a good spot right now. Thank you. And he blinks, kind of sits down on the stool, and then turns himself around and he puts his elbows on the bar and just kind of leans back. There is tendrils of resonance left over. Whatever happened here happened a week ago.
That's right, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
Is he looking in the direction that we think it was at?
It's hard to see where he's looking because every time that he looks somewhere, his head lolls and he looks somewhere else. It's very drunken master. Every time you think you kind of see him looking in a specific direction, his head is already lulled and moved in a different direction.
Okay.
But he pulls a cigarette, puts it in his mouth. Whew. Yeah. Whatever happened here, it is not safe. Something diabolical was called up in this place.
Called up.
Yeah. Have you had interactions with the Restless?
A ghost?
Yes.
Ever so briefly.
Yes. There has been one here.
Okay.
He walks up, leans against Ivory, and be like, "Did anyone say ghost?"
Yeah. I don't see any others, but I know that whatever was used here ripped a hole into that realm.
Interesting.
So,
Is there something we can do to mend it?
oh yeah. There's others in the city that can do that for you. That's not my area of focus. And
When
he,
we say ripped a hole into others, does that mean we have access to the other side?
you ask him that?
I do.
He looks at you and he uses his cigarette to kind of point at you. No. And I'll tell you what, even if you could, I wouldn't recommend it.
A
Shit's
little
bad.
late for that, but I'll take it into consideration.
So is that what the problem is, you think?
No. Just like the alcohol, the cigarette, the music, which is stellar, by the way. Good choices. All of that is a focus for me. And because enough of you here understand what I am and are willing to believe in what I do, a lot of it gets to fly under the radar. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. This is above my pay grade as far as the Restless are concerned. Like, I have very minimal, very small interactions with them, only because I've started to kind of go down the road. And I don't want to bore you with like the minutia of what we do for ourselves, but there is a path that we have access to that deals with, chaos and the dead and spirits and everything else. And he'll put the cigarette in his mouth.
And she raises her hand. Does this also contain like an alternate version of what we see?
Pulls it out. No, but I like where your head's at.
So does this have to do with the memory loss?
100%.
So there is something that is hunting here.
The way it has been taught to me is that the ghosts live off of emotion. They ingest it like muffins.
Not true.
There are some that live off of memories instead, and they will rip it off of somebody's living brain matter, and then sell it to somebody on the other side, or whatever currency they use over there. And again,
I don't think Ivory knows that. Is what
Well, you
happened.
100% know that. You were present.
I was present, but I don't know if I knew that the memory was taken. Was it? Did I? I don't remember.
as far as like the people that were affected.
Well, no. Way
Oh.
back in
Oh,
Kathy.
with Kathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the memory was taken.
Yeah. Did I know that?
Well,
Given
she was
the
present.
information that you've been given now, it wouldn't be a far leap to make that jump. It'd be like hopscotching.
So that's. And she looks at Kathy. Is that what happened to you?
What? I'm assuming Kathy doesn't remember. She just remembers the feeling.
Mhm.
Like, I wouldn't know that a memory is missing because it's missing. I would know that I have.
Well, she
gaps in
gave
time.
one. Would she remember giving one?
Yep, but not what it was.
Yeah.
Yep. And he'll pull the cigarette out and be like, "You've had this happen to you? You're not alive though. Like, and I don't mean any offense by it, but you're not breathing and setting off heat detectors."
Neither are you, mister, but no one's complaining about your looks.
Ooh. Kitty has claws. I like it. Puts the cigarette back in his mouth.
Okay, so we need to close that rip, and then this will stop.
It won't. It won't stop, but it'll prevent them from easily yanking your memories off, doing what they do with them.
Hmm.
It's not a cure. It's a stopgap.
Right.
So what is a cure?
I mean, honestly, you would have to turn this place into an anti-ghost stone, and they don't take kindly to that kind of situation.
Hmm. She kind of looks over at Carl.
Yeah. What did we put up on the words? It was ghoul. No, it wasn't ghoul. It was
There's ghouls and werewolves.
What?
ghouls and werewolves. Yeah, we hadn't gone good to ghost yet. Yeah.
Mm.
I have a question.
Hmm?
Let's say you have history, like kind of like a bad breakup. Would that hinder doing any of this?
It would depend on what you're talking about.
Let's just say for no reason at all, of course,
Mm.
that one of the bad ghoulies has connections to someone present within this conversation. Would they prevent this from closing?
Oh, if they had the ability to do it, maybe. But a lot of the restless don't have the ability to stop things on the other side. Those that
Now,
do are
there's
frightening.
been
What if you wanted to bring something from the other side back?
That would be rough for a vampire.
But you could do it.
No, not me. Like I said, I've only just started down this path.
But there's people who can
Oh yeah, tons of people who can, just not me.
in the city.
Oh yeah, there's a werewolf that can do it for you. I don't know how.
Yeesh.
I don't know how friendly you are with them.
Not a friend. Who's the werewolf?
His name is Imwe.
And how recent will the deceased have to be?
Oh, you wanna bring a ghost back? That's impossible. They're the only ones that can do it. They have the ability to take over bodies, but that's the kind of thing that my people would not take kindly to. We would probably destroy them.
Now, this is not the only place that this has happened,
Okay.
or something like it anyway.
He'll point to the corners where you saw the things happen. And he's like, those two in particular are still glowing with what we call quintessence. So, whatever happened here was forced to happen. And there's nothing coincidental about this effect. It's vulgar, straight up.
Do you think someone called them?
Mhm.
So we're looking for a human agency that used a restless.
It's not somebody that used any random restless either. This is somebody that knew exactly who to use, knew exactly what flavor and what favors to ask for.
Mm.
This was designed.
Hmm. And so it could have happened whether we had this tear or not. It made it a little easier, maybe?
It would have. It would have definitely made things easier. There's
Would they had to have been here to do it?
Yes. It is, unless they were trained in one of the other paths that we have access to, it is very hard to affect a place that we are not at. That's why I had to be here. I don't have access to that path. And so I had to imbibe of your liquor. Thank you for that again. I had to imbibe of the atmosphere, which I appreciate all of you not killing me for having actual blood in my system. And I had to imbibe in the music, which has been, again, stellar. I love this song in particular. And he starts kind of
Beam.
bouncing in his seat softly.
It was our pleasure to see such a different type of practitioner at work.
I mean, I didn't really do anything. And he winks at you.
All knowledge is
Careful,
precious.
But
So since you now know that it was probably a mage,
at least
practitioner
one.
who did this, does this go into the purview of your, what did he call it, a council?
It does. The council are going to want to know what I learned here. I am not beholden to telling them the truth, though. If you want to work out some kind of deal with me in the interim, I can keep a secret for a few days or weeks, depending. I'm flexible like that.
Or is this man asking for flavors?
Do we care? Why
Well,
would we care?
Yeah.
And what would somebody like you want to keep? Like, for us not to have to tell your council.
Oh, I'm a simple man. Just a little bit of your blood.
Fuck you. How's that?
Man,
You know what? I'm sorry. That was crass. Go fuck yourself.
I mean, it doesn't have to be yours. Like, it could be hers. It could be his. Like, could be one of
She has
those
a big-
guys over there.
When the council is told what will happen that we would not want to happen.
You would have a lot more of us involved in your day-to-day business. We would want to have access to the place during the day, since we can't have access to it at night, because I assume you still want to try to make money off of this place.
Well, that is how I make a living.
It's super weird that some of you still actually have like jobs. Given,
Why? We have to pay for things just like you do.
Taxes
mean-
are a bitch.
I mean, yeah, if you want to live life that way, but I figure, like, you know, you do the googly eye things and you make people do whatever you want them to do.
It's the googly eye thing. In time.
Hmm.
All things are
There's,
possible.
there's a reason I fortified this thing, you know? I saw what you people have done to others of my kind. I don't like it.
I have a half a mind to do stuff to this guy. Luckily, I've changed. I've turned a new leaf.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm gonna wait up for an exchange.
Good, you can give him your blood.
Yeah, it's for his blood.
Oh. No, not even like dinner first? You just want to get right into it?
I'm directed to the point.
I'll pull down his
No.
pants for you so you can get out of his ass.
No foreplay with you whatsoever, huh? I mean, it's up
He's
to you.
very clinical.
Definitely not my type. But up to you guys.
You're just randomly gonna give your blood to some random dude on the street, right? That's what you're gonna do?
For his? You know how rare his type is?
We're not that rare. But if you want to believe that, I'll definitely let you keep on believing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, look around. And he waves his hand around. There's at least 12 of you in here. 15 maybe, give or take. I mean, there's at least that many of us in the city. There's at least 8 members of the council. Like, we're
A whole
abundant.
12 of you. A whole 12.
He puts a cigarette back behind his ear. I know that I don't look like much. And to be honest, like, I'm kind of happy coasting in this life. But there are others. I don't know what you've heard, but I know that there's one person who heard from a guy who heard from a guy that one of our kind turned one of your kind into a lawn chair and left you out for the sun to find. So,
Oh,
And here comes the threat.
I'm not questioning your
This guy's literally being racist.
versatility nor your power. I'm just saying, numbers wise, you are rare compared to our kind.
oh yeah. And you got us some numbers, because you can just fucking go out there, bite 3 or 4 guys, and you got an army.
And you have no idea. Welcome to what the certain factions will do.
Nope. You are Legion after all. But given time, my kind is more than skilled, and
Oh, I believe it. I'm not questioning that.
right.
I'm just my only point was like how rare your blood is how valuable it is.
No, and I am. Listen, if you want me to be rare, I can be rare for you. I don't think that I'm the kind of guy you want to have access to, is all. There are others who are amenable to, blood play, as it were. I know that there is. You know what? There is one verbena who would enjoy the exchange of blood with you. She would even want to try to bite it out of you.
Can I roll to see
So-
if this man's bluffing?
That's not exactly what I was referring to as a strictly scientific exchange, but sure.
Oh, listen, if you're not kinky
Yeah,
that way, then
Ivory's definitely looking at some of this as bullshit.
I am too, and I want to roll for it. So can we just get to that part where I roll and call him out in his shit and then bite him? Because I'm about like 3 seconds away from that.
Elysium.
And inviting Elysium.
Technically, I can bite him.
No, you
Why?
can't.
No violence in
I never
Elysium.
said I have to bite him here.
No, well, that's different.
Mm.
Once you're outside of
That's a
Elysium,
whole
you
different
do.
thing.
yeah, the without even having to roll, the bravado that he's putting on right now is definitely the kind of thing that like this guy's got a lot of bark but no bite.
Yeah, Ivory's just giving him that look like, sure you are.
And he's like, hey, I came to do what I came to do, and now I'm gonna take my leave of you. I don't have to take this kind of abuse. But I appreciate everything you've done for me, and I hope that I've
You're
given
right.
you some new knowledge for you to fight the war that you're fighting, because you're in over your heads. I'll tell you that for free. And he gets up and he kind of finds his feet for a moment, and then starts to walk towards the stairs.
I'm gonna have my cat follow.
Turned Ivory like, when are we not?
And immediately after he leaves, Billy comes over. He's like, "Ma'am, there's an issue downstairs.
Oh no, what?
You might want to come take a look over the counter, over the railing,
All right.
and you will see." Yeah, that's nice. You will see down intermingling with like a small group of people is this woman who has this leash on her,
Oh, boy.
leather collar, a leash, and the chain goes back to Grant Reynolds.
Oh fuck.
Who is
Thank you for
that?
letting me know.
He's the guy that killed Manny Garza.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I get that, but who's the girl on the leash?
Yeah, that's
Who's
She's
the one
going
holding
straight
the-
over to Otis or to John, actually,
yep.
because Otis is probably in a conversation.
And John kind of steps aside and puts
And
his
she will
finger up to somebody else.
very quietly say Grant Reynolds is downstairs.
on a leash.
No,
No.
he's not on the leash.
No, he's got somebody on a leash.
Oh, I heard it backwards. And okay, I'm sorry.
He'll
That's an interesting twitch.
yeah.
Causing a commotion.
Let me know if you need help removing him. But if you can remove him before Otis finds out, that would be fantastic.
Not even get the chance. I'm sorry, babe. I'm already down the stairs.
We'll see. And she grabs Billy and goes downstairs.
And before her, the minute I get down there, I'm like, what the absolute crap are you doing to this girl?
He turns to look at you. Wow. Not even a hello and how are you, huh? Just straight to business. You see this,
What are you
Alice?
doing?
You see this, Alice? This is the kind of abuse that I get when I come to bring you to good establishments.
Does she look scared, like, at all?
No,
Or she's enjoying?
she looks rabid.
Like she's
Rabid?
about to fight something?
Yep. Like she's wringing her hands together. She's like looking at people, and every so often, like she'll kind of lean over and try to get a sniff of somebody, and he'll pull the leash a little tighter. No. I said if you behaved yourself, you could have something to eat.
So he's denying her on purpose.
Mhm.
Why?
Does Ivory come up about them?
Yep. Yep.
Mr. Reynolds.
Ms. Lawson, I heard that you had a fantastic kind of Friday night where vampires were allowed to be themselves and partake of the joys of your establishment. Is this true?
No, it is not. Elysium is in force.
You can fucking go and leave the kid.
Oh.
No. No.
And he holds out his chain. He's like, I'll gladly leave it with you if you like, Ms. Larson.
No. Please. Take your friends with you.
Ooh, so cold. Have we not been social with each other? Have we not built bridges? I'm here as an envoy of the bishop.
Oh, are you?
I am.
And you bring, and she indicates the
Oh,
woman.
That's my chowder.
I see.
Freshly made tonight.
And tonight, and you bring her here.
Yeah. I want to show her the finer points in life, you know. Let her know that there are places where our kind can peruse and enjoy themselves without the knowledge that out there bad things are happening. And when he says that and you look out the doors, like, you'll see that there's a small little protest going on. There's people with like crosses painted on whiteboards, and there's take your devil music and leave our good Christian city. There's just people out there who are not happy.
I did not hear about this earlier. What?
There are people, they're on the opposite side of the street, so they're not like in front of the club, but they are definitely picketing the fact that there's a nightclub in Salem.
Can I ask a small question?
Sure.
Because my knowledge on this. If she's hungry because she wants blood, how much blood would you need to give her so she can calm down enough so I can take her away from this?
You can't.
It all depends on how much he's fed her so far. But that, you know from experience, that first night, it is the hardest night of all. He's like, Miss Larson,
Now, is he in the middle of the floor? Where is he?
Yeah, he's off to the side, like between the bar, the downstairs bar, and like where the dance floor starts.
And I'm sure the crowd is.
They've given him some leeway.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bit of there's a good berth.
Well, thank you all. I hope you enjoyed our show for tonight. Just a little fun. Please go back and have a drink and have a good time. Thank you all for coming.
And they start talking to themselves, and they kind of like keep the distance around him.
Yeah.
But he's like, I came as a favor to you, Miss Larson, since you have been nothing but kind to me.
As a favor?
As a favor to you, yes. It's what Melvin would have wanted.
Fuck you.
You think Melvin would have wanted you to bring your thirsty childer into a club full of humans?
No, not that. That's for me. That's for me to enjoy.
I see.
No. I think Melvin would have enjoyed it if I had come to you with the knowledge that there are members of my sect who are operating above and beyond the scope of our laws. And I felt that since you and I have had this rapport built, that it would behoove you to know that there are people out there, Tucker White, who are not adhering to the ways that we do things anymore.
Remind me of who Tucker White is.
Tucker White is the pack leader of the Sabbat coterie that was impersonating Melvin
Okay.
Erickson and Andreas.
Right.
Oh, I thought he was your friend.
Oh, I thought so too, but Mr. White has delusions of grandeur and has taken his gifts in a different direction. I fear that the bishop and I are losing control over him, and we just don't really care to put him on a leash anymore. So whatever happens to him happens to him.
And I hope he puts your panties in a bunch and shoves them back in your mouth.
Oof, what a dirty mouth this one has.
Hmm. So I
will-
suppose that means that you are anything that we find that Mr. White has done has nothing to do with you.
Not since, I want to say, a couple of weeks ago when he and his group created a fourth member of the pack. Without permission, I might add.
Oh, and
Oh,
I
reach.
assume you do have permission?
Oh, of course. The bishop and I are on good terms.
Hmm.
Yeah, too bad the bishops don't run this joint.
Yet.
He won't. Last I checked, he has a really hard time trying to navigate certain things.
Kathy?
Oh,
Yes?
I'm sure he has other ways to deal with obstacles.
I'll make sure it doesn't happen. I have a question. If I were to grab this leash,
Mhm.
how dead would I be?
I mean, he's already offered it to you, so if you take it, it's your responsibility then.
I don't know if you want that responsibility.
Ivory is looking at her and no.
Yep. Billy will also kind of lean in and say, ma'am, things are escalating. And you'll see a Salem City waste management truck pull up and just kind of dump a pile of earth and manure and just kind of drive off, leaving this
Call the cops.
mound. Will do. And he rushes off.
You might not want to be here when the cops show up.
Oh, I'm aware. Please send Otis my love, since I'm not being allowed to grace him with my presence.
Well, let's just say I'd like to keep the Elysium.
So makes you a good keeper. Come along, Alice. And he yanks on her chain, and she kind of snarls as she starts to follow him like a dog.
If Ivory has to, she will hold Kathy back.
But yeah, if he is allowed to leave, he will leave.
He's allowed to leave.
Yep. You see that once he gets outside, like he taps the doorman, he puts Alice over one shoulder, and then in front of your doorman, he blinks out of existence. And the doorman's just kind of like
Auspex.
looking around. Celerity. He's just gone.
Trying to see if I can see him, make
Yeah.
sure he didn't come back in.
He didn't.
Okay.
Check for tendrils.
But you will notice that there's 3 auras in the mound of earth.
Oh, fuck.
What does that mean?
And you are the first person to see the 3 shovel heads shoot out of the earth towards your club.
Yeah. Lovely.
What's a shovelhead?
Close the door.
What's a shovelhead?
Newly minted vampire.
Yeah. The way the Sabbat loves to create new ones.
Yep.
At least for fodder purposes.
The three of them descend on your doorman. Oh, two of them descend on your doorman. And one of them descends on the
Well,
riders.
I pulled him in and closed the door as fast as I could.
Make a dexterity and athletics roll. See if you can beat them.
Athletics.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. That's probably not going to happen.
That's one less doorman.
But
One less paycheck.
Do I have celerity?
Nah,
Yes, I have 2 points of celerity. Can I do?
Ooh. I mean, you do have fleet. That's a rouse check, but that is a masquerade breach. Because you are definitely around people who are looking at you.
Yeah.
I think the rapid fires are going to be
and the
worse.
rapid reflexes do anything?
No, it just gives you cover from firearms, and
Okay.
so it helps you against being shot.
1 success.
Okay. You grab his hand and you start to pull him in, and you see one of them just feral claws already just scratching down his other arm, and he screams, and then you see the one outside that grabbed him just kind of like licking her nails, but you do manage to pull him in. His arm is shredded. The other one is a male who kind of like slams into the door, starts to shake it, and then both of them just kind of like look at each other, and they smell the blood, they hear the screams from the protesters, and they rush over and start to feed on them. The people inside who are seeing this start to scream, and they start to...
there's no windows outside. It's a
No,
nightclub.
but there is a man with a shredded arm.
Yes, there is.
And the ones that are closest to you like scream and they point. And slowly people kind of like start making their way towards you, like just kind of cramming into the front entrance.
Yeah,
You just hear like, what is that? Is he okay? Somebody call the ambulance.
He'll be fine. And it was just somebody threw ketchup, and
The man's arm is spaghetti, but it's ketchup.
yeah. She's covering it.
Yeah. He is
and trying
crying.
to get him upstairs.
And you'll see Coulson at the top of the stairs. What exactly is... Yes, I gathered that from the scent of fresh blood and the trail that your doorman is leaving.
Yeah.
Is this a problem that requires weapons, or is this a problem that requires clean...
How far away is she from the crowd? Because she would have her security like keeping them.
Yeah, upstairs is just kindred. So
yeah. So there's 2 newly minted vampires outside
3.
taking out protesters. They were just dumped by a dump truck, and yeah.
And he motions for...
They were trying to come in.
He motions for Harvey, and he immediately comes over with Tulip and some of the other whips, and he tells him the same thing that you told him, and they make their way out.
There is back doors.
Towards the back door, yeah.
Yeah. There's even one upstairs and in the back, and they can make their way around.
Yep.
Probably pretty quick. I've already called the cops.
Good. And he goes over and he starts telling people to leave, just telling them that Elysium has been cut short because of certain things, and people are slowly kind of like looking in your direction, and then looking, trying to see over the railing to see what's happening downstairs, but they're making their way out. And
okay,
the last one he comes up to...
She will actually give the doorman blood.
Okay.
So...
yeah, that'll sedate him.
Well, it'll sedate him and hopefully heal him.
It'll help.
So I take a point.
Yep. Well, rouse. Make a rouse check to see if
rouse check.
if you lose if you gain a hunger.
I do.
Okay, so yeah. Point of hunger, and he looks at you strangely, but he takes in the blood that you're offering, and his eyes kind of like widen. There's the knowledge that he is now part of a bigger world swirling around in his head.
Except that now I call Carl over.
No.
Can you make him forget this?
Do the thing.
Yeah. Do the thing.
Julie, do the thing.
Julie.
And she will start cleaning up the blood so as to, yeah.
Yeah, and Otis, once the guy he was talking to leaves, Otis comes over to you. John told me what happened. Do you need anything?
We're going to need a spin on this.
Okay.
Because I'm sure there are dead people outside my club.
That's not going to be good for business.
It is not, especially since they were protesting.
We are fortunate that Mr. Barker and his group are currently in a gang war for the city, so a lot of that can be attributed to them. You deal with Erickson and his coterie, so I think you should be the ones to let him know that his group is going to be taking some more heat as of late. I've got to throw somebody under the bus, and unfortunately, he's the one pulled the short straw.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, did John tell you everything?
He told me that there was three people that got feral outside.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something else he should have told me?
Grant Reynolds was here.
And
he's gone.
You will see, because you can't hear it over the music, but you will see that his hand just squeezes the railing and completely crushes it.
Okay.
He was here.
He was.
And he left unscathed.
Elysium.
I'm just saying I was ready. She wouldn't let me.
Now there is a blood hunt. Does that? I don't know how that works with Elysium, but it was in the middle. He came into the middle of the downstairs in front of all the people.
You did the right thing. I'll pay for this railing.
She nods in acceptance, and I was more worried about the raging childer that he had on a leash in the middle of my club.
He's procreated.
Yes.
This night just keeps getting better.
Yes, doesn't it?
Okay.
So, going out onto the balcony, can she see what's going on?
The people are being calmed. Billy and Benjamin are both kind of like having the music lowered. They're kind of letting people know that there's been gang violence outside.
Okay.
And that
I
for
meant
their
outside,
safety.
but yeah.
Oh no. Benjamin left the camera room once Billy was just like, "Hey, fucking shit happened."
Yeah, there's actually a balcony that goes from the upstairs, and it actually looks out over.
Yeah.
So.
But he came downstairs with Billy to make sure that everybody's calm, because one person being distressed is easily handled. 50 plus people can turn into a cattle rush. But if you go outside to look, the there's about 6 bodies of protesters that have been torn apart. The 3 that were there are nowhere to be found, and the motorcycles and the car that Harvey Green and his coterie have are gone from the parking lot.
Okay. Have the police shown up yet?
No, but you can hear the sirens in the distance.
Okay.
And Otis will leave with John before the cops arrive. And the 3 of you have the upstairs to yourselves.
I assume our mage left before
Mhm.
all this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mm. So let's make sure that doorman is not going to remember things.
Okay. He's immortal, who
Yeah.
doesn't know it's coming. So the moment you like, hey, look at me, are you okay? And he just looks at you, you're like, you're a bitch. And he immediately, he immediately forgets. Which is going to be an interesting conversation to have when he looks down and sees that his arm's spaghetti.
Well, was it healed?
Obviously.
It's no longer spaghetti, but it is still like mangled.
Okay.
I mean, dogs, man. Dogs suck.
Yeah.
So she will. I'm so glad I could get you away from those gang members. And yeah.
Yeah, they just came up out of nowhere, man.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear their bikes.
Yeah, they must have parked around the corner or something.
It's sneaky.
Yeah. Of course, we'll need to get you to the hospital and just to make sure.
Yeah.
All paid for, of course.
Oh, thank you.
Take as much time as you need with pay.
Yeah, thanks. Awesome. And he goes downstairs with the rest of the people, and Billy and Benjamin are both kind of like looking up in your direction as they're slowly letting people go out now that the police have arrived.
Okay.
And they're making sure that people who saw something are going to one side, people who didn't see anything can go to the other side, so they don't get bogged down in the political like red tape. But once everybody's out, Billy and Benjamin both come upstairs, and Benjamin just kind of,
Not one thing, it's 10.
yeah, and Benjamin just kind of looks at you, is like, I don't understand what happened, ma'am. The protesters were just outside of the camera range, so I couldn't get a good look at them. I didn't know what they were doing. I was just seeing a group.
How did they know where the camera range was?
I don't know. I can look into it if you'd like.
That's the least of our worries.
Yeah.
All right, this was a gang. This was part of the gang war.
Mm-hmm. I'll start spreading some rumors.
Do we have footage of the last time they came and shot up my club?
We do. I made sure to keep copies of that.
Yeah, can we intersplice that with tonight's?
Of course.
A bit. Thank you.
Yep. And he moves past all of you back into the camera room. Billy kind of looks up at you. Anything I can do?
We got everybody.
Everybody's out and safe and accounted for.
Okay.
Are you all right? Because I know that Barnaby was here.
Yeah. That's the least of my worries tonight.
All right. He kind of looks at you. He's like, would it be out of bounds for me to say that could this be something he did?
Reynolds?
No, Barnaby.
Oh. Why would you say that?
Just the way he looks at you, gives me this feeling like he's jealous. I had a cousin, Ferdinand. He was terribly in love with this girl, Maria, from back in the neighborhood. And when she started going steady with somebody else, he flipped. And I saw that same look in him.
I mean, I kind of assumed it was Sabbat, but because that's what they do.
You know better than I do, but
It's a thought.
I just feel it's very convenient that he was around when this happened, and with his Saya next to him.
Alibi. I'll keep it in mind. Thank you.
Yeah.
Please, always tell me your thoughts.
That's why. I don't like him.
Yeah.
And one of the police officers calls to him, and he nods at you, and then rushes downstairs to talk to him. And
Okay.
as the crowd is being questioned, and the three of you have more questions than answers for tonight, I think this is a good point to call it.
Sounds good.
So, you have so much going on, and it'd be so nice for you guys to catch a break.
What is that? What's a break?
I don't know if that's possible these days.
Every time we solve one thing, 20 more things pop up. It's amazing.
It's almost like the world
Could
is
we finish
against you.
something? Could we finish something? Anyway.
I mean, you have a good lead on what happened in your club.
Yeah.
You no longer have like the question of what it was. You know for a fact what it was. So now you can act accordingly.
Where's Giovanni when you need
And
him?
of course, now we get sidetracked by, yeah.
I mean, the Sabbat War was always there. It was always coming.
Yep.
The fact that you've skated around it for so long has been really generous.
I
But
was curious to which way we were going to fall. Once you started mentioning the protesters, I was like, oh, here comes the Inquisition.
no, that's low-hanging fruit. That's the curveball. No. Like I saw your face and I was like, oh, he thinks this is Inquisition. No, this is fodder for the shovelheads.
Yep.
So, thank you guys for coming along on this journey. Thank you to Kathy for coming back. I hope you had a good time getting back at the character, finding her again. As always, I want to give you guys a chance to plug whatever you're into. Let's start with you, Carl. What are you up to? Where can we find you online if you want to be found?
Sure. Well, lately, my wife and I, Dr. Ann Valdez, are putting together a new veterinary clinic here up in Leesburg, comparative to where we are. The website is ppcvh.com. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. And we're about 3 weeks away from opening the physical location. So
Woo-woo.
that's been consuming my life for the past year.
It's all coming together, though.
Yeah.
Awesome. Ivory, what do you got going on, and where can people find you online if you want to be found?
Well, I sell dice, and
Link is in the Twitch chat.
yeah, so that is one of them. Can you see it? I don't know. That one's got a skull.
Nice.
And I call that one Pirate Trove. It is on the site.
Pirate
And then I
Trove.
also have, for the people who need potions for D&D.
D4s in the shape of potions.
Yeah.
Adorable.
A potion jar for a jar of potions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of fun. So that's what I do all
Awesome.
day.
And Kathy, what are you up to? Where can people find you online if you want to be found?
It's just me here, all my little physical self. I ain't got nothing going on.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to have all of you back. I hope that you guys are having a good time with the story. As always, please take care of yourselves. Please know that it is okay to not be okay. If you're watching live, there are phone numbers going up in our Twitch chat. They'll be in the description box if you're watching on YouTube later. But just know there are resources out there for you to kind of take advantage of in case you're feeling like you need it. If you're not in the United States or you don't do well with phone calls or text messages, you can also go to findahelpline.com to find the resources in the area nearest you. So just know that there are people out there who are trained to help you, who want to help you. And so taking that first step is just going to be the scariest and the hardest. But once you do it, you will be better for it. And just know that the world is a better place with you in it. So please reach out if you need it. So as always, you can find us here on Monday, like tonight, for Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition. Tuesdays are for Werewolf the Wild West or Scion 1st edition. Thursdays are for Legend of the Five Rings or 7th Sea. And you can catch me on Wednesdays at McStabber Studios as I've infiltrated all the games. And I'm currently running a mage game set in Miami 2018, which is going to be real delicious. And sometimes I sneak into their Friday game when they let me be the best sire in Kansas City for that game. As always, thank you guys for coming along. Thank you to the audience for joining us. And as always, take care of yourselves, people. Bye.